evening, guys. Welcome back to the next broadcast for the Oakland Esports. It's Coach Ori and Coach Leone on the mic tonight to bring you guys some League of Legends action. It's something that we rarely get to see here on the broadcast.
Yeah, that's right. League of Legends in the past few years through CLOL has been on Saturdays. And it's very difficult to get a broadcast together on a Saturday just because of the limitations of the space that we have here. But now, playing in the NACE Star... not the NACE Star League.
The artist formerly known as NACE Star League.
The artist formerly known as NACE Star League. Now just NACE on Tuesdays for League of Legends. So we'll definitely be showcasing that team and playing much more often.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm really excited.
I mean, you have a background in League of Legends. I am a notoriously long-time silver player.
Right.
So
right.
we both we love League, and we're so glad that we finally get to actually watch the game.
Yeah, I really haven't had a chance to really broadcast and dive into it, casting a League of Legends match myself for a while. So it'll be interesting. It's been a while, but I do have a history of competing in League of Legends on the college scene, so it's near and dear to my heart that we get to do this today.
And while we get into while draft is currently up and running over there on the end of the players, looking at tonight's matchup, we're going up against Conestoga College. The other current, I believe we're the only two teams that are currently undefeated in our conference. Right. So this is a matchup to prove who gets to go 3-on-3-0 here.
Yeah, they're a strong team. I've seen around master level ranks, which is about where we're at too, master GM, and our players fluctuate between there, and it's going to be an interesting match. We've been kind of prepping for this one for a while. Both teams 2-0, like you had mentioned, and we have won over Southern Miss, took down Butler, and now we're looking to take down Conestoga.
Yeah, Conestoga wins on Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Kansas this season. So what's crazy is that both teams have a 2-0 win and a 2-1 win against their opponents. So we're looking at potentially it's like some pretty similar skilled teams, like you just said.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at we're kind of geared up for Worlds, too. So that development of what everybody thinks is going to be going on at Worlds might be playing a part in these kind of matches as well. So
yeah, because the current patch that's on right now is, I believe, the Worlds patch. 14.18, I believe, is what gets played at Worlds. So, I mean, after tomorrow, it doesn't matter because tomorrow is patch 14.19. definitely that's going to be a Vladimir up in the top lane for Wex. That is going to be a pretty sustainy. They're going to be living on an island up there on top lane if in a Camille versus Vladimir top lane, if I was to guess.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I've played Vladimir, it doesn't go so well against those kind of champions. But if you're a really high-level top laner and you really know Vladimir in and out, you can play really safe and sustain. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you want against Camille. You certainly don't want to be dying early because that champion gets so strong later on in the game. So you can't give her an early lead. You kind of have to punish her a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost an updated version of NACE is the way I think about it.
Yeah.
You have to bully them in the lane to keep them down.
Okay. And I guess while we wait for the game to load in, we mentioned about how if the OU team really goes for this tanky front line with the Alistar, with the Amumu, that less than ideal burst damage, it's all burst damage there on the Condor side. Ziggs is, I'm going to just try and chip you down and then blow you up with a Q or maybe an ult, right? Annie is point and click for the to drop Tibbers, get that stun, get the big damage. There really isn't that just the constant damage where you're going to see somebody weaving in and out, just doing damage while their front line is just kiting for him.
Right. I think Alistar and Amumu, as long as they don't get behind early in this game, are going to do really well and be able to sustain in these fights. And the other aspect of it for an Annie or a Ziggs is they really, I mean, Annie specifically really has to hit somebody who's very close to her. She doesn't have a huge range.
No,
right?
She's definitely limited by that range.
If you think about how our team fight should go, it should be a Mumu and Alistar lined up on the front line, and you've got Corki and Kaisa kind of back there pushing damage out from the back, this long range. Annie's not going to be able to do anything to that back line, which is the only target she can really do anything to. So, I mean, I'm going to be looking for Condors to be flanking and really getting some damage that way. Maybe some teleports behind if she takes TP. We'll see what happens. But that would be the strategy that I would have because in the draft, this looks rough. I mean, from my perspective, Camille has to do well.
This is really. I think this is going to really fall onto Condor's top lane here.
Yeah, because Camille can get into the back line and blow up a Corki or a Kaisa. She can do that, but everybody else really has a hard time doing that. You know, even Wukong will get into the back line, but Alistar's just going to kind of push you away.
Yeah, he's just going to knock up and just push you out, even when you're in the Beyblade spinning to win ult.
Yeah, I mean, you can throw the decoy out there, but as soon as you show up, he's just going to say, you can't milk those and push you away.
Yeah, that is exactly what's going to happen. And I even think when you see Wax on the Vladimir pick, Vladimir, depending on how you build him, right? Vladimir can be pretty tanky himself. And he is just so, with the changes that they've made to, I believe, when he kind of turns into the pool.
Right, the W.
That's his W. That move, the sustain on it is really good at just rebuilding up any lost HP. So as long as Vladimir is just hitting anybody on the Condor side, any damage to him is just going to be mitigated.
Yeah. And because they don't have a lot of DPS, it'd be hard to take him down if he heals.
Yeah.
And he's not going to one-shot Vladimir before he hits W.
No,
it's not going to happen.
And
Wukong's not doing that either.
There's just so many solid disengage tools on the side of the Oakland squad. So I think we're in for a good match because I think right now, just looking at the draft, I think Oakland has a really good draft here.
Yeah, and we've got with League of Legends, one of the nice things that Riot has put into the game is a 3-minute spectator delay. So even though the draft is done and the team has started, it will be 3 full minutes before we get into the game. So what that means is I think we'll push it to a quick break, and we'll come in right before they're ready to go. So we'll see you in just about 2.5 minutes. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Be right back, guys.
Okay, and we're back into the game one of the series. This is a best of 3. Conestoga versus Oakland University, both undefeated teams. One of them looking to hang on to it. Well, both of them are trying to hang on to it, but one of them will succeed at the end of the night here.
Yep.
So we saw a little bit of a scrappy engage, but really nothing gained at the end of the day there, except for vision.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that blue team was definitely trying to potentially, they were just scouting for information on whether Ben Sapp was probably going to be starting, whether it was going to be red side, blue side. And, when they had 3 people, they were trying to scare him out, maybe force a flash. But, Bennett held on to that F key and did not have to use it and burn it. And he starts on Wolves, and he's starting his path down through the blue side of jungle.
Yeah, I'm looking at the junglers here. We've got Wukong on one side and then Amumu on the other side. Amumu's got a lot of AoE effects, especially once he hits level 6. And so a lot of the times when I played Amumu jungle, I like to focus bot lane because then I can hit more than one champion. It's a little bit more efficient, get more out of my abilities. Where if I'm a single target jungler, maybe like, I don't know, a Nidalee or a Lee Sin, I more prefer to focus on just a single lane, like a mid lane or a top lane, to get those ahead. Although, you kind of have to adjust per, on each matchup. So if I'm looking at Amumu here, can I gank bot lane? Right, we got Rel and Ziggs. Ziggs is pretty hard to get onto just because he's so far away. Sticks so far away, and Alistar's really never going to set that up. You're never going to have Alistar WQ onto a Ziggs. No. He'll die before he gets that close to Ziggs, and Ziggs will still be at the turret.
Yep.
If Rel just starts walking at him.
And Rel's just really too tanky, and she'll eat so much damage to just hop on her horse away and get out of there.
Right. Now, with that said, Amumu can gank bot lane. He just has to go behind them to do it. He's got to be the one to engage it, where he can't rely on the support to do it. So if he's going to do it, then Conestoga kind of has to be pushing up like they are a little bit now, and then he flanks behind them from the river. But if it's an even lane state, you really can't gank it very well, especially if they have good vision, because the support is almost useless as an initiator. Now, they're great as follow-up, though.
Yeah.
Alistar is good as follow-up there. So now we've got Annie and Corki in the mid lane. It's an interesting matchup as we see Alistar getting in onto Ziggs, like I said, would
really
never
trying to
happen.
scrap down there. But Wukong here hovering around that tri bush, looking to sneak around. Gets in there, and first blood,
a very aggressive flash forward by Beaulieu there. Gets the kill, but I don't know if it was worth it as Alistar also goes down. So it's a 2-for-1. Now that took time out of Wukong's agenda to do that.
Flash getting out of there. Lorenzo gets eaten, and that's it. Honestly, that's a good response by Ben Sapp, heading up into that up in the top lane to honestly help put Wex up just ahead, right?
Right.
Because now he got to proxy farm for a little bit, so now his wave gets to just crash onto that turret for free up on top.
Yeah, Camille's got to teleport in to be able to collect some of that wave. And it was an interesting way to play it there by Ben Sapp, flashing forward, trying to get a little bit of damage. And what he was really trying to do was get an auto attack onto Camille so that the red buff would slow, and that would set him up to land the Q. And that's why he didn't lead with the Q. Obviously, there was minions in the way as well. But you don't really want to lead with the Q because they're full movement speed. They're just going to dodge it at a high level of play.
Yeah.
So you want to apply the slow from the red buff so you can land the Q a lot easier. And that's what he did there, although he didn't get the auto attack. Camille flashed away almost immediately. So a bit of a misplay. You can actually right-click on Camille and then flash forward, and you will automatically auto attack.
Okay.
If you're within range. Even if they flash away, you'll get the auto attack off. So if I were to talk to Bennett after the match, that would be one thing individually, Micro, that I would talk to him about is make sure you apply that red buff if you're going to go for that strategy, because if you fail there, yeah, you got the kill, but sometimes they're going to get away because you make that kind of minor mistake.
Yep. And we're seeing that early gank up and top really starting to put Wags ahead, 34 farm up, but now, without talking about what's going up on top, we got a big scrap here in bot side river, and Bennett goes down, and stun onto Shaggy. He's got to get out of there. Alistar just slowly get away, okay, he's trying to, gosh.
Bit of an ugly fight here, and, a smart play by Shaggy, but a little bit of a mistake there on the mechanics. He was trying to flash forward Q him and then push him under the tower, and unfortunately he pushed him toward the wall, and so he didn't get pushed under tower, didn't take any tower shots. And if they don't take any tower shots when you go for that kind of Alistar insect play, you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Conestoga also gets the best of the Oakland squad in that exchange, and it seemed like they really knew that ambush was coming. And so they were able to respond with 4 players and take them down.
Yeah, that was a really big commitment on Conestoga's end. And you know what? It came out. They helped him come out ahead in these early fights, right? They're just trying to find these kind of ways to just start some sort of a snowball. 3 assists on Ziggs, because they need to get Ziggs ahead pretty early if they want the Ziggs to kind of take over in the early game, which is going to be like his most important part, I think, here. Because once you get into that late game, it's going to kind of fall off a little bit.
Right, you're not going to be able to deal damage to Vladimir and Alistar and Amumu in the late game, although Amumu has a little bit of AP going, so maybe the first item is AP and the rest is tank, or we were wrong and he's going full tank. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. Now we look at the CS numbers, it's the 7-minute mark, so we're into laning phase quite a bit now, so I like to just take a look and see what we've got going. Top lane, 31 CS difference between the top laners. Vladimir up there has the better of that exchange. Now, part of that is because of Amumu's early gank, blowing the flash of Camille. Kind of an aggressive play that Vladimir there, and actually takes him down. The alt proc takes him down at the end.
That was a solo kill under tower, technically, right? And now he's getting a second plate, and potentially, honestly, he has probably Camille's teleports down, right? So he could have potentially stayed there for a third plate, but he says, all right, I got to kill, solo kill, I'm up 6-6 CS. I will be able to just go back, buy, probably get at least a lot of components of my first item,
right?
And I'm going to just dominate the rest of this laning phase before this Camille has a chance to become usable.
Yeah, you love to see it. There's a huge gap in the top lane there, and that's what you want to see. I mean, Vladimir can be a huge threat in this game because I don't know who on the Conestoga roster actually answers Vladimir later in the game. It really is only Camille. And so if Camille's way too far behind, she can't really answer him later in a side lane. They're going to have some problems. So it's huge for Oakland that Camille's not doing well. We had talked about she was part of the key to the game in the win condition from Conestoga. So happy to see that happened, and happy to see that Ben Sapp was able to go up top, influence that lane. And the sign of a really strong player is that after a gank like that, they're able to totally shut out the other laner and take over the lane as he's doing here. You see proxying the wave there, not even letting him CS. So that's how you get this lead of 30-40 CSs. You're focused mostly on getting that champion away from your minions, and then you kind of farm as a secondary on the back end.
And even looking down at the CS differential down jungle, Ben Sapp, solid lead on that building at CS, and it's always important as a jungler, right? Like most of your gold, your nice big gold influx comes from when you get your ganks, get the kills, but that CSing is always important, especially somebody like Wukong, which is a character that does a pretty good job of farming, right? He hits fast, and he can really clear a lot of these camps, but that is quite the easy gank, right? They drop the bear, got that's 2 alts down on blue side, so definitely some the next fight going to be a little different now.
Yeah, really strong gank, and that's just knowing your mid laner, right? Annie's the one who wants to set up the gank. Wukong is not the one to really initiate that gank, but a really well coordinated play, as you saw Wukong go invisible and then Annie flash forward to get that stun, and at that point it's really hard for a Corki to get away from that. The W is not going to get you out of the trap because you're already stunned, so you can't really W away. Now you can flash react to Annie's flash, But that's very difficult to do, and you kind of have to know that the enemy jungler is coming to anticipate that.
Yep, and Rel rotating all the way up top. We have a triple gank here, and Wax just gets the kill. His energy
players top lane. I don't know if they're going to be able to kill Vladimir here. This will be interesting if he lives for the next few seconds, because he might be able to kind of turn this around and stall.
Misses the Q, but Wax is still alive. The smite down, misses the ult, but he gets the ult actually.
Yeah,
and now Hensap up here. That's a kill. A nice response. 3 kills on his Vlad. He's online now.
It's that healing that we had talked about through Vladimir. If he lives through the initial engage, they don't really have a lot of DPS to take him down, and since Camille was so weak, she just didn't have the burst to actually kill him. So the fact that he lived initially and was able to kill Camille was huge, and kind of saw in the back of my head, Rel and Wukong don't have a lot of burst damage after the initial engage.
No, they're there to set up for their laning, like who they're either ganking with or laning with to get the kills, right? They are truly there to be the support.
A flash in from Alistar taking down Annie. A lot of CC thrown down. Kai'Sa's in trouble, getting a lot of damage dealt from the Ziggs. And Corki on the back end is also getting hurt. Shaggy just trying to do what he can. Maybe kind of be a distraction.
Gets over the wall.
Pushes Ziggs towards the team and sets them up for the kill on Ziggs while saving himself. What an incredible play there. They're trying to clean up the Rel.
Ben Seb will be able to get out of that barely, but Alistar just says, "Get away from my mummy."
Right. Alistar just loves to push him away and say, again, you can't milk those. Just push them away. It's one of my favorite things about Alistar, sitting in lane with the Moo. Is it Moo cow skin? Is that what they call it? And then he's got the little cowbell, and you just ding it in the lane all day long.
Yep.
It's one of my favorite skins in the game for Alistar there, and actually one of my favorite supports as well.
And Wax just taking over so much of that top side now. Once again, he still has that maintained 30 CS lead. That top tower, we're about to see that last plate get taken on this next push. And there's just nothing that this Camille can do now, right?
Yeah, and he has ultimate too, so this is really scary for the Camille. Vladimir has the ult to W. He can dive under the tower, so, I mean, you see him backing up away from the minions, and got a 40 CS lead, and he's taking down the tower. So was that kind of carrying the Oakland team into the mid game? Not that he will continue to do that for the team. It's more of a team effort going forward. But if top lane was going poorly for Oakland, this would be a lot scarier. But I think we're in a good spot here. Alistar able to get the engage on Ziggs.
Good Rel ult. Flash out because of the Kai'Sa ult. Gets the kill, and actually recovers so much. The Kraken Slayer really coming in clutch here. Honestly, when I saw the start with the recursive bow, I thought maybe that we were going to see Bully go right into maybe a Ginsu's Rage Blade playing that on-hit Kai'Sa, but going with the Kraken Slayer has really been nice at being able to help Bully just deal with this Rel that's jumping on him.
Yeah, this is that team fight, or that little lane fight, excuse me, was really just the hands on Bully. The key of flashing away from the Ziggs ult made the whole fight, because he would have certainly died if he took that Ziggs ult, and it would have turned the whole fight around. If Kai'Sa dies early in that fight, Alistar also dies, and so it's a 2 for nothing in that case. So it was a key flash there, and a really good play by the two of them. But man, did it look scary.
It was looking a little scary for a moment, but like you said, that flash, and then even utilizing the movement that you get out of the Kai'Sa ultimate herself when she's got all the amount procced onto her opponent, definitely got him out of that scary situation here.
Okay, we're at the 14-minute mark. I'd like to kind of take stock. We're headed into the mid-game now.
All right.
Let's kind of get a pulse for how this game's going. Oakland, got the Void Grubs. Okay, no dragons taken yet from what is there? I'm sorry.
It's just a Mountain Drake so far.
Just one Mountain Drake for the Oakland side. We also have the Void Grubs, 6 of them, 2 towers. We're up 4K gold, 3K gold here. That's a solid position to be in at the 15-minute mark. That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
So this is a solid lead. It's not a stomp by any means, but Conestoga has to come up with some answers here.
Yeah.
And because of the way that they've drafted, I don't know what those answers are. It's really scary because Camille did poorly in lane.
Yeah. it almost felt as you need like a 5-man gank up here to just stop this Vladimir, right? Vladimir is just currently, he is the win condition, and he is the true thorn in the side of this Conestoga comp right now. 2 turrets down. Wex just absolutely marched down lane and said, "You cannot touch me.
Yeah.
Just you're out. You're done."
It's the incredible thing about League of Legends and competitive play when you really look at the team play is the Vladimir lead stemmed solely on one Amumu gank that was successful early on, and then Wazek taking advantage of it and pushing it as far as he can.
Yep.
And Conestoga not really having a good answer for it. They tried and failed.
Oh, we got a flash ult by Annie. That's going to definitely get the kill on Bull U. The double ults burn. Now, 3 ults burn, and now we got Wex going in. Alt and W up. Good heal from Shaggy just to keep Wex alive. That is a good 600 gold shutdown if you can kill Wex. And there it is. Wex, though, going on a rampage. Wow. Okay. Hensap, bottom side. Oh, my God. Eric is still alive. That's about to be a triple kill. Quadra kill.
Zach now, and a quadra kill now. And that's
an ace. This is about to be an ace.
Yeah.
You got Hensap is chasing. Just needs to land 1 rocket. Now, and a 4th tower now for Oakland as we just march down this this mid lane here, setting up for what could be a early Baron, right? A 20-minute Baron?
Yeah, Wazek is going to be unstoppable now. He got so much gold out of that fight. He already had such a lead, and the enemy team comp is built to do absolutely nothing to Vladimir. So it's just kind of a ridiculous game state now. And that team fight, you saw how it played out. Although Vladimir got very low multiple times, if he doesn't die, it's just over. You can't win the team fight without bursting Vladimir.
Yeah.
And it's hard to burst Vladimir. He's tanky. For somebody who's building straight AP, he gets a lot of HP off of that because of his passive.
Yep.
And you need a bit of DPS mixed in there, and the Conestoga roster really doesn't have it. Bully caught out here. A lot of CC coming down on him, and they throw a lot of resources. Yeah. He is done.
Yeah. And that, honestly, that's just a little bit, that was just a nice little quick gold injection into the Conestoga side because they are just trying to find anything that can help them potentially mitigate any loss. Big engage by Amumu, and Alistar trying to get something, but, oh, what is that?
Well, see, the League of Legends client popped out, and what that means is that the game ended 3 minutes from now.
Wow.
That's what I assume. And so the game client crashed on our end because we're on the spectator delay. The real game ended within 3 minutes. So a little bit of a bug there and something we're trying to work on. And it's a little bit frustrating, right?
Yeah, because, honestly, the OU squad was looking so good there in that fight. But, that makes you think that within the 3-minute time gap, right, there was a absolute, fight. There was a brawl in that mid lane, and then our team probably just waltzed down there, right, and just took it so fast. So we'll have to.
I'll do the play-by-play of the next fight that's upcoming.
Yeah,
okay?
Let's hear it.
So the play-by-play of the fight that's upcoming. What happened is that Annie just used flash on Kaisa, so he doesn't have a flash anymore.
Yep.
Annie is forced, the only person who can really get to the backline and try and deal damage to Kaisa in team fight. So the team fight comes around. They're fighting over the next Drake. Annie's trying to get to the backline to fight Kaisa. Vladimir flanks and pop in. Gets a 4-person ult, not 5. 4-person. Deals a good amount of burst damage to Ziggs and Annie at the same time. Annie goes for the ult stun on Vladimir, but Vladimir pulls in time. Does not take the stun. Lives and kills all 5 pentakill, and then they run it down mid lane and end the game.
Honestly, I think that is exactly what happened. Now, we'll have to possibly talk with our players as they kind of take a little bit of a few-minute break here between games. And, guys, we'll be right back with draft for Game 2. Stick around. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Power through the tournament with the high-quality protein milk provides to stay energized and focused throughout the game.
Oakland University Credit Union is here to help you power up your financial game. Whether you're aiming to upgrade your gear or conquer your savings goals, OUCU has the tools you need. With awesome savings accounts, cashback reward credit cards, and an easy-to-use app, we're here to help you win both on and off the screen. Not a member? Not a problem. Visit us on campus or online at oucreditunion.org. Oakland University Credit Union, because leveling up shouldn't stop your gaming. Proud sponsor of Oakland University Athletics, federally insured by the NCUA.
Power through the tournament with the high-quality protein milk provides to stay
And we're back.
Welcome back. Oakland University takes game number 1 over Conestoga. That's what we want to see.
In dominant fashion, according to our players out there. Wazek, the top lane, Vladimir, went 8-0 and just dominated.
24k damage, double everybody else's damage easily.
Honestly, triple. Nobody else on the Oakland squad even hit close to 10k damage.
Yeah.
But
just not even close. We are in draft for game number 2, though. Oakland University sticking with the Amumu Sad Mummy once again.
Yep.
And I got a Jinx behind it. And Condor's sitting over the Kaisa Rel Nar, which is an interesting.
I do like the idea of a Jinx with Milio bot lane. Whenever Milio wants to put down that little bit of a campfire that follows around his AD carry, that gives a nice little damage attacks range boost. And for Jinx, that's always a good sign when she gets a little bit of like a half RFC in terms of extra range.
Yeah, especially when she goes Q and jumps on that rocket, even more range. And that's pretty powerful. Then you're nearing Caitlyn's range, and that's pretty powerful, especially when you're facing a Kaisa. I mean, the range difference there is huge, and if you're playing it well, go auto attack the Kaisa, back off before she can do anything about it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they would be looking to do there. Although you have to be careful because then Rel can engage on you. But again, that range is also useful against staving off Rel because you can auto attack her while being outside of her engage range. So that's what the bot lane will be looking. I've always hated piloting those kind of lanes just because I wasn't quite good enough at playing with that range. And so I would jump forward a little bit too much and then get caught out.
Yeah.
As soon as you get caught out, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you really have to be smart about how close you get to the enemy team. As we see a Lilia picked up by Conestoga as well.
Yeah, so right now we have just currently the mid lane is unknown for there on the Condor side, and both teams drafting up their bot lane in the first rotation of draft. Don't want to give away too much information there for mid and top lane, but that Gnar definitely where Gnar's going. Gnar is going to go up in the top lane. And they banned off Vladimir right away. Now, I was not you could tell it with locking in Bensap early with the Amumu. You kind of know that Oakland was not going to choose both of their solo laners in the rest of the draft because that's just a little bit too much information. And it would just allow for too much counterpick there in the second phase of second draft phase. So getting that Vlad on the instant first ban in the second phase of drafting, got to get rid of that problem.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of a pseudo wombo combo team comp coming out from Oakland. It's kind of hidden in there, but what really happens is Pantheon ults into the backline of the enemy team, and then Galio follows up, or Amumu Qs and then Flash ults into the backline, and then Galio follows up, and you've got all this wombo combo suddenly in your backline for the enemy team. And responding to that kind of team comp, Conestoga picks a very smart pick, which is LeBlanc. Now, LeBlanc's not going to get caught by any of that. No. Pantheon comes in, okay, I'm going to jump away twice if I want to and flash a third time if I really need to. Galio's never catching LeBlanc. Amumu rarely is going to catch a LeBlanc with a Q. High-end LeBlanc is never really going to get caught by a Q unless they don't see the Amumu.
Yeah.
So if it's coming out of a brush or something, that's different. But a very smart pick and probably one of the only champions on that whole roster that completely counters what we're doing. So if LeBlanc gets strong in the early game here and we need to find an answer to LeBlanc, we're going to have a bad time. It's going to have to be a Pantheon Flash W, or it's going to have to be an Amumu Flash ult. And you're relying on having that flash and being able to land it because LeBlanc can still dodge out of that, at least the Amumu Flash ult. The Pantheon W flash is harder to dodge with a flash.
Yep. I think I like the look of this Condor's team comp a little bit more. Actually, just a lot more than what we saw game one, where they almost were kind of just countering themselves. But this time, they definitely have constructed a much better, I think, more reliant team. And I'm intrigued to see how the Golden Grizzlies are going to respond. New pick here coming in for Wazek with the Pantheon. But like you said, Pantheon, if he can get ahead and he doesn't really care about having to leave his lane, he's just going to ult. He's going to walk down a little bit down that river. And he's going to ult mid and help try and just get they have to lock down this LeBlanc. So I think for the Oakland team, where a lot of the strength of why we were able to snowball into this unstoppable force was topside, I think a lot of this game is going to really focus on Hensap in that mid lane and how he can contain the LeBlanc and make himself usable as Galio around the map.
Right, yeah, and containing the LeBlanc is tough. And Galio-LeBlanc matchup, from what I understand, is not great. You just don't have the range, and you're rarely going to land that Q, reliably on the LeBlanc. She has the options to dodge it if she'd like to, and when you do try to jump in and hit the LeBlanc melee range, she's just going to W away and get away from you anyway and tether you, and then you're stunned in the middle of the lane too far. And so it's tough. That's a tough matchup. It's going to be more about clearing the wave, but LeBlanc can roam as well as Galio can in some sense, although it's a little bit of a scary thing for bot lane if Galio just ults into the bot lane and takes over. So that's the nice part about the Galio pick into the LeBlanc is although in the laning phase it doesn't go so great, if LeBlanc ever roams, Galio can just hit the R button from the river and call it a day and respond to that roam. Yeah,
the two semi-half globals the two on the Oakland side I think is going to be pretty important here at being our kind of like our semi-win conditions here. Now we're entering into the tournament draft currently while we get the next game loaded up.
Right.
I wonder if could we get a quick look at actually that draft website's the link's probably expired right now, right? I don't know if we're going to be able to see it.
I think it's still up. We'll be able to.
Because I kind of want to look at the team counts while we get everything in here. So, looking at the Condor side, I'm trying to think, where does the engage come from, right? It's Rel, Gnar, and maybe Lilia. Because that mid lane, once again, just like the Annie pick, this is a mid lane that goes, all right, I will point click, try to kill a carry on the enemy team. We saw that with Annie. Now we're seeing it again here with the LeBlanc pick.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like you said, that is the engage. Excuse me. Rel, Gnar, engage there. Maybe Lilia slowing him down. But what you have as an issue is it's kind of flipped a little bit now, where like the Oakland has the same issue that Conestoga had last time.
Yeah.
Where they've got these beefy frontliners. They've got Rel and they've got Gnar. And so they're going to be really tanky in the late game, and the only champion that actually answers those is Jinx.
Yeah.
Everything else that we have on our team literally doesn't do anything to those champions, and so you have to play this cat and mouse game where Oakland has to set up a front line that defends Jinx, and if Jinx ever gets engaged in the back line and blown up by LeBlanc, who can jump back there and kill him, or if Gnar can jump back in there with the ult and pin her against the wall, the fight's over, because if Jinx dies, you can't win the team fight anymore.
Yeah. And I think the Jinx, it's going to really, I think, come down to, like I said, the mid lane match is going to be really important to kind of set up, kind of like really, it draws the line in the sand of, all right, how are we going to get through this the mid game and get into push to late game, right? That's going to be really important. And then having Boley use Jinx, have that just get a little excited, get ahead. That's going to be the most important thing to push into late game, getting and securing the win here. Because Jinx now has historically never really gone a lethality route, but nowadays you're really seeing Jinx lean into the lethality build.
Right.
Because of some changes they did to Jinx's W and Rocket. It's just those lethality items just pop with those two.
Damage.
And you start with a collector, you're going to be seeing some crazy stuff from Jinx, and when she just starts snowballing, oh my gosh, it's insane now.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. And, from a basic gameplay strategy perspective, when you think about what lethality does versus traditional DPS items, lethality will deal with squishy champions really well. What it doesn't deal with is the Rel and the Gnar type champions that we're talking about, and Jinx is the only one who can deal with those champions. So, I don't know, if the meta is to do lethality, I'd be worried.
Yeah,
it's
if so weird.
Build lethality. I don't know if my team can win a team fight anymore.
Yeah, because
really
I think
tough.
For Jinx, I mean, depending on the matchup, maybe your second item you rush is your Mortal Reminder, your Lord Doms, right? You get your Armor Pen early at item 2. You're usually going for one lethality item early as your first item, just because you want to be able to get ahead in the laning phase. And then once you go into item 2, that's when you start, okay, now I got to look at the world beyond my bot lane. So we'll see. I think Collector into Mortal Reminder, probably what's going to be what we see, just because it's going to help deal with that sustaining from Gnar and Rel.
I hope Olyu keeps that in mind, because if I see 3 or 4 lethality items in a row, I really don't see how they can win team fights if they don't crush the early game. Now, all these predictions mean absolutely nothing.
Yep.
If the first 10 minutes go, one team smacks the other team, and now they have a wallet the size of Texas that they can beat the other team up with.
True.
Okay, none of it matters at that point. But if it's an even game state, I don't like the way that these team fights are going to look for us, to be honest with you. So we've got the spectator delay. That's 3 minutes. At this point, we're down to just a minute because we have such excellent analysts over here on the desk.
True. I had to turn down Riot's application to go over to Europe this week to help work in the play-in stage, right?
Yeah, Dash came up to me one time. He said, "Hey, you're a great caster. Do you want to jump on? I saw you do that high school tournament back in 2016. What do you think about this opportunity at Riot Games?" And I said, "Some small indie company? I don't think so.
No.
That's not who I'm going to work for."
I bet Captain Flowers would, even though Captain Flowers, he's from Ohio, he'd be like, you know what, Michigan's close enough.
Yeah, Captain Flowers, what a fantastic caster he is. He's animated.
He's the best.
So energetic. I wish I had that kind of energy, although I can't imagine he's that energetic day in, day out during his regular, everyday situation. That'd be kind of funny.
That would
see somebody grocery shopping and they're freaking out about the apples that they picked up.
Just living life where every time it's just Skarner doing something awesome.
It's always funny when you see casters and they have like that key champion that they really enjoy, and they get so excited when that champion's picked.
Yep.
And I see a little bit of that in myself, although I don't cast at all. Some of these champions that are popping through the Amumu, I'm so happy to see Amumu.
See, for me, this is all like Jinx is my favorite League of Legends champion of all time. I think Jinx is the coolest character ever created.
Okay, you must have really enjoyed Arcane then.
I loved Arcane. Arcane. Excited for season 2 because it comes out, I think, the day before my birthday, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a
Riot
birthday
Games
present.
knew. Riot Games knew we got to give him the birthday gift.
Yeah, it's so cool to see Arcane do so well, and then how long between seasons they took to just make sure that they built a quality product. And so I really do have a lot of hope for it, and I hope it goes well. But we are into game number 2 now. Now we've got the classic 5-stack here from Oakland in the brush, trying to surprise a Conestoga player who's unaware and walking into the brush.
Yeah.
Although this is probably the most obvious spot on the map that you would do this. The Conestoga going in the 5-point, which is spreading the players out and just making sure that the Oakland squad can't dig into the jungle anywhere and plant some wards and get vision. That's really the point of the 5-stack, is just to create a protective vision wall, if you will, where this is a little bit more aggressive from Oakland. They don't mind if Conestoga gets vision topside. They want a small chance at getting a free kill or a free flash from the enemy team.
And realistically, you look at Conestoga's team comp, they would never invade.
No.
There is zero chance that this composition would ever invade on level 1.
Yeah.
There's just not enough CC available to make sure where it works. There is a chance that Oakland could have been greedy and they could have gone for a invade. Probably it would have been safest to go up through Tribush, like bot side Tribush. But we are just going to get right to lane phase.
Right, and probably the reason why you don't see Oakland do that, on top of a few others, is just the main engage level 1 that you would want would be maybe an Amumu Q. And if Amumu takes Q level 1, he just cannot farm the jungle. So it's just not even an option. And maybe, Pantheon W, but if you take that in lane, you're also done. You have to take Q. So, even though we have champions that it would work, it's just, it wouldn't be a smart strategy. As Jinx actually catches Rel with the traps, that's incredible.
Forcing a flash, and wow, so low. And that, I like the idea that Bully had of going with the Flame Chompers second instead of the traditional go for W second, just so you get that extra range to try and hit that enemy bot laner. But going for the Flame Chompers almost got them first blood in the first 3 minutes.
Well, it got the flash too, which is absolutely a resource that matters. So taking that down is huge, and it forces Rel out of the lane. Really huge play, and I think you're right. I think taking the Chompers level 2 just caught Conestoga off guard. They weren't ready for that. So when Rel went in, she didn't have a choice to get out anymore. Top lane going a little bit different this time around. See, Pantheon's health getting low, although he is shoving in.
What's crazy is that it looks like we had a lane swap, actually. So we're seeing LeBlanc go up into the top lane instead of in the mid lane like we were expected to see. And Nar moved down into mid lane.
Right. Conestoga has our Twitch account and has been listening to the cast here.
Oof. Rough first blood.
That was a little bit, I'm scratching my head back here. I'm not sure exactly what we were going for there. Maybe Wazek is just a little bit hyped up from how well last game went. That one was a little bit too aggressive and certainly didn't pay off. But anyway, Conestoga listening to the cast in the pregame and heard that you had said Nar is definitely top lane. Just wanted to prove you wrong, so I had to swap the lane. No, but really, actually, it's a smart play. Nar can do really well into Galio. Same as LeBlanc, just outranges him. And LeBlanc can pretty well into Pantheon as well.
Big.
He's caught out here.
But, Bully can be able to get out despite taking so much damage, but that campfire, like the bonfire just hovering around Jinx, let her survive for so long despite just being just almost all in.
Not a lot of damage coming through, and the reason for that, like you said, the campfire, but also a very well-placed Chompers by the Jinx. Bully caught the Kai'Sa back, and so Kai'Sa wasn't able to DPS throughout that entire gank. So it was just a 2v2.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Rel, she doesn't do a lot of damage.
No damage. I mean, a lot of CC, great champion, but if you're looking for some DPS coming out of your Rel, you better just, Alt F4 and get out of the game.
It's true. And we're looking to see, it looks like Hensap is looking to go and do his first back. Still maintained a health bot, which is still good. That means just the Dorn shield was enough, and he goes back with a Burmese Cinder, so he is looking to have that burn to deal with these up close and personal trades that he's making with Nar.
Yeah, it's a really interesting choice to go for that. Maybe Sunfire Cape? Is that what we're looking for?
It's definitely unless actually no, not Sunfire. It's I believe Burmese Cinder builds into one of the an AP. There's like this AP tank item.
I understand. That makes a lot more sense. Amumu caught out there in the jungle, and Ensep is there now, but all he's going to get is a little bit of damage and a friendly wave from the enemy team as they take the jungle camp, take the Amumu down, and walk away.
Yeah.
With Zek here caught out, a little bit of a tough spot, taking some damage, and
Hensap did burn that teleport to get back to lane as fast as possible to try and help Bensap. Oh my gosh, Karami with another solo kill on Wazek. Definitely saying, I can beat this guy. Get me up into top lane this time.
Yeah, that's why it's a best of 3, because the Conestoga top laner didn't look so great in the last matchup, but this 1v1 matchup of LeBlanc versus Pantheon is very favorable, and he's able to leverage it into a few kills. Now, the one notable thing that I would say about that is also Wazek has more CS than the LeBlanc here, and so even though he's got a few kills, he's not up as much as he probably should be in gold. So in my analysis, I would say Wazek has been dying because he's pushing too greedily for these minions and not willing to give them up.
Yeah.
And so his CS score his CS score is higher because of it, but obviously it's not worth it. He is giving up gold to the enemy team, but that's why the CS scores are somewhat even.
And you can kind of tell the way that Wazek is playing it, right? He's going for like the Pantheon semi all-ins to just try and chunk like 40% of that LeBlanc's health, right? Because LeBlanc, she's squishy, right? And once this Pantheon gets that serrated Dirk, starts building into some of those like really damaging items, those trades are going to start favoring Pantheon more and more as time goes on. And now we see a lane swap in the mid, and we're seeing these intended lane matchups.
That's right, yeah. Wazek saying, get me out of this lane. I don't want to. And Nar immediately walking out of the lane. They're looking for a 3-person gank on top lane.
Yeah, and we got a big scrap going down in bot side. just so because of that enchanterness that Milio can offer, doing good stuff and just keeping him alive down there. And Hensap gets out, dodges. Oh my gosh, he stayed alive during all that. And we are seeing Bulleyu's just pop off. Wow, we almost saw a crazy turnaround from how that bot lane went. There was just so much action happening around the map.
Everywhere there was
nothing. Was the only place where nothing was happening was just mid lane.
I couldn't watch it all at once. I wish I had a four monitor setup in it so I could see everything at once. But Hensap able to live with about 1 HP there. And then at the same time, Jinx able to blow the flash off of Kai'Sa, which is a big deal. That means gank spot lane later on for the next few minutes will be more efficient, certainly more effective. And
Jinx got that was 3 turret plates, and most of that was solo turret plate gold. So there is a huge liquid injection of gold into Jinx. 77 CS up to 58. This Jinx is coming back with a BF sword and serrated dirk with the cloak. So you can tell that we are seeing that lethality Jinx about to come online. Pretty much Collector is ready. 300 gold, I think, away from having Collector at almost 10 minutes. Jinx is so far ahead.
Jinx is in a great spot, and here's exactly what I would be thinking if I'm Bensap, the Oakland jungler. The enemy ADC just blew flash. Okay, the enemy support doesn't have flash right now. I have my ult and I'm level 6. I'm coming bot lane, and here's the gank like I predicted.
Boom, and Jinx rocket. And Wazette comes down too. We have an all-in to get the kill onto Bullyu. The team knows, funnel resources into Jinx. Let this hyper carry be the hyper carry she's known to be, and win game.
Was there an enemy bot lane there? Because they disappeared. I blinked and they're gone. Incredible amount of damage there. Wazek, of course, coming in to say, thank you so much for that gold. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Wazek is like, I'm going to burn my ult here because I need this assist gold just so I can have a little bit going on.
Yeah, well, he timed it perfectly to steal the, the kill away as well. Certainly overkill coming in there. Hensap caught out in the jungle on this blue buff. Amumu missing the Q there. Kind of a rough Q trying to get away. He does not have ult or flash right now. He's in a dangerous spot. Pantheon trying to save him, but not too much he can do without putting himself.
And this is going to be one of those dangerous spots about Lilia jungle, right? Lilia is actually such a strong jungler because the moment she kind of chooses her target, she is just whittling down that health. Just all the slows and the burn that comes out. She already has almost built a Leandri's Torment, so you're going to really start to see this Lilia come alive here, probably within the next back.
Right. And you have 2 types of AP champions, I would say. You have kind of the burst mages, and then you have almost like the DPS style, where they're dealing a lot of damage over time. And that's what I would put Lilia in. Now, she does a decent amount of damage up front, but over the course of 10 or 15 seconds, she'll continue to pump out the damage and do a lot.
And she's always resetting that, too.
Right.
Always keeping those burn timers going.
She does % health damage, you know, because of her build. And that does a lot of damage to these tankier champions like Amumu and Galio and Pantheon even. And so the front line that Oakland has is going to be a lot more vulnerable than they were last game. You see a fight over the grubs happening.
And you can tell this Conestoga line, they are really trying to stay more objective focused, right? They got that really early Ocean Drake, but it looks like Bensap managed to steal the grub, so we have 5 grubs to 1, so Oakland really halted that the grub game, right? That's important because, you know, you're always, when you have, like, once you hit like that 4 to 5 grub out of the 6, you're really in a good job, like a good point for pushing into these lanes.
You get bonus if you get the 5th one, I believe. You get
I think it's at 5,
there.
yeah.
And so it's critical that Oakland got 5 and not 4. And so that's a big deal there. Oakland also...
Hextech Drake. The Hextech Drake is going to be very big. I wonder what we're going to see. Okay, so I think the Chemtech Drake, seeing as that's what we have for the field and all the remaining Drakes of this game, I think now Oakland really needs to switch focus onto just probably keeping Drakes going. Because I think their comp does really good with kind of like the bonuses you get out of the Chemtech Soul.
Lilia forced to flash there in her own jungle. That was a little bit interesting there. Galio and Amumu don't have a lot of burst damage, so maybe Lilia thought that another champion was there in the wings, a Jinx perhaps, and needed to flash the CC, because I would not have done that in that case. I would have just taken the Amumu Q and called it a day.
Yep. And 2-0, that Jinx now. Jinx got a few extra turret plates there from the mid lane. We're almost at a third turret plate, so Jinx definitely wants to push this lane, get that last little bit of plate gold, go back, and start building into what is looking like the next lethality item. Unless she really wants to just get greedy and possibly go with something like an IE. But you can tell there is so much going on with this. Protects the Jinx, gets the kill, gets the rocket kill, a second kill, double kill going. This is what you do with lethality and Collector Jinx. You're always constantly getting excited. You're just running around zooming.
Okay, so we will now, at this point, we're 13 minutes into the game.
Yeah, we are in mid-game now.
We're in the mid-game. We're going to see a repeat of what happened last game, except we're just changing up the character name. Okay, Jinx is now Vladimir from last game.
Yes.
Now that he gotten a few more kills in this scenario, and it's critical for Oakland to keep the Jinx alive in a team fight. If Jinx does not live throughout the team fight, Oakland will not win the fight, especially now that she's the Fed member.
Yeah.
Has all the gold on the team and really is the only one who can answer the Rel and the Gnar there. So that's what the team did during that little gank, or that little mid lane fight there, is they threw every resource they could into keeping that Jinx alive.
Yeah.
The Pantheon ult, the Galio ult, Amumu used his ult as well to keep him alive, and they did it.
Yeah. And at 4:01, and the items that we're seeing built on this Jinx is immediately looking to make second item IE by the 16-minute mark. So Bully U is looking to just truly become that just global threat of the map.
What is this Gnar skin here?
I'm not too sure. It looks like Elderwood Gnar.
It's very neon green.
Yeah,
there.
I think
That's
it's
wild.
I believe it's an Elderwood chroma.
Elderwood. Ah, okay, right. The chromas kind of changed thing around.
Yeah.
Well, so if we're making the comparisons from this game to game one, if I'm in Oakland's shoes, we don't have as much of a lead as we had last time going into the mid game.
Nope.
We do have a Fed member as well, but the other team is pretty much right there with us with gold. You know, they're down 1 or 2K, not a big deal.
Yeah, it's closing in on that 2K gap.
Now,
or 3K gap, rather.
Oakland is more vulnerable than we were last time, because last time we had a Vladimir who was fed tanky and there was no answers on the enemy team. This time you have a Jinx who is fed not very tanky.
No.
The Jinx. And so if the enemy team does get on top of Jinx and burst her down without the rest of Oakland protecting her, it's over. I mean, the team fight is over. And notably, the best champion on the Conestoga roster to do that is LeBlanc. And LeBlanc is fed 2-0, 126 CS. So she has the gold now to be able to burst down the Jinx. Maybe one shot if there's no other champions involved in that situation. Whoa! Amumu going in for his red buff. Realized that it was not where it needed to be, and actually catches out Rel. Galio is on the backside, so Rel is going to die
It's
here.
probably going to be Reginald. He knows he's out of here, and like that, gets a kill over to Bensep. And I was actually going to just, before that whole exchange was took place, I was going to comment about how Conestoga is doing a good job of kind of just making Bensep kind of irrelevant in this match. They're doing a good job of just containing it and taking all of his jungle resources, so he's not been able to really have a huge gold impact to build these items, even despite what you're seeing from the CS count, right? It's just it felt like there's been very little impact from Bensep on this game so far.
Yeah, he just isn't able to do as much. He can't gank mid lane very well. LeBlanc just jumps out. It really doesn't do anything there, but we'll see if Bully U can stay safe. That's really it. We have to
this
make
is
sure
huge.
Jinx doesn't get caught.
Gets the ult. That's a dead Lilia. Yep. And see, look at that. The rocket damage with Collector, IE, you are Jinx. You do not care about the armor anymore. You are just, as long as you get to that percent and you get the proc for the execute, that's all she cares about.
if the Jinx is fed, the lethality will work no problem on these big tanky characters. Now, if Jinx was even,
exactly.
or one of these tanks was ahead, if Gnar was fed,
it's over.
Jinx is not going to burn down,
but
this tanky Gnar. So
at 601, this is it's like a ticking clock, right? It is just. You have to get this. You have to shut this Jinx down.
You have to shut the Jinx down, and Oakland has to be very careful about making sure that Jinx doesn't die.
Yeah.
And I keep saying it, but I can't stress how important it is, because if Jinx dies early in a fight, Oakland cannot win the team fight.
And
it's just not possible.
Yeah. And the person who's, I think, taking this protect the Jinx so well is Shaggy. Look at that. 0-0-8. 8 assists, and Jinx has got 7 KDA, right?
Yeah.
So this Milio has been glued to the side of Jinx to protect her. That's exactly what you want to see out of an Enchanter support.
He might as well be playing Yuumi. Just floating around with him.
Honestly, could be better. Milio might be better Yuumi right now.
Well, I'm just saying he literally can't leave the champion side. He's just forced to be right next to him. He might as well.
They're glued at the hips.
Glued to the hip. So, we see Shaggy pushing up into the jungle. They're trying to get some vision.
LeBlanc trying to get you back. And LeBlanc hitting Milio, and Shaggy immediately running away. He's like, all right, I will take the bullet for you, Mr. President.
I don't want
President
any
Jinx.
of this. LeBlanc.
Oh, you're dead. You're gone. Gets the proc, gets the kill. The Super Mega Death Rocket comes in clutch. 701. Once again, when Oakland has the person who is their VIP, they are funneling all resources into that VIP.
Yeah, that's right.
It was Wazek in game 1, and now it is Jinx here in game number 2. And what's crazy about all this, only 2 turrets have been taken on the side of Oakland, right? But we have that's okay. And Boliu is legendary. Huge oh my gosh, gets the kill, double kill. Oh my god, how is he alive? Boliu, the luckiest person on the Rift right now. 1001, 211 CS. This man is legendary. 700 gold bounty. That's 1,000 gold influx for just killing this Jinx right now.
I have one word to describe what I just saw out of the Conestoga.
What did you just see?
side.
Because your league eyes are different than my league eyes.
Absolute desperation. They don't know what to do. All they know is Jinx has to die. So I'm going to melee range this person as LeBlanc. I've got spells who can push so far, but I want to be melee range on Jinx and just throw everything I've got at her. That doesn't really work out too well, and she happens to be standing right next to a Galio. Probably don't want to go melee range.
No, especially when Galio's just going to throw up the taunt, and you are no longer in melee range of Jinx. You're in melee range of Galio.
That was probably the most questionable play I've seen. Oh, I don't know. Wazek had some rough early game stuff.
There were
the
level 1 dive under turret. I don't know if that was
That was close, though. I think that's probably just as bad there.
Gets a kill, and now, Jinx just staying in rockets, gets the kill. 11-0-2.
Yeah.
We are seeing the pure dismantling of this Conestoga Condor line. They are, just dodging like Neo up there for a second.
Well, Wazek knew he was going to die, and so he just started CSing in the middle of that.
And this is looking like the freest Baron. It's on clearance.
Oakland pushing in. Bully you doing so much damage.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And that was the freest Baron, and we now know that what had happened here, 12-1-3 for this Boliu. Boliu tried to dive him underneath Fountain.
Yeah, that must have been what happened.
Got Baron, pushed it down mid lane. They're like, okay, you guys take this. I'm going to 1v5 them under Fountain.
I think what happened is they won the fight, and then he just flashed under the Fountain when there were no champions, and just to really show off a little bit.
That the only thing that can kill me is a giant, untouchable killer statue.
Yeah, I think Conestoga, after the Baron went down, maybe just forfeited the match and hit FF and walked away.
You know what? There is a... I don't know if I don't know if they're allowed to FF in.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't. Yeah, it's for the spirit of the game.
they can technically do it, but you should never do that in a competitive match. So it was more of a joke. This Conestoga roster is good. They're a strong team. So I don't want to. I'm making jokes over here, but they are a strong team. They got put into some tough situations, and part of the strength here from the Oakland roster is that we have so many different threats. They did a good job of shutting down Wazek this time in the top lane, but Boley was down there in the bot lane and just kind of laughed at the enemy. They bullied him, and that's why his name is that, showing Reginald why TSM shouldn't be a league team anymore and really showing him up. So,
wow, that's crazy.
That was a game. Yeah. That was a game of League of Legends there.
Especially when I look at, because I've watched the league team play their week 1 and week 2 games, and this was honestly some of the cleanest gameplay I've seen from the squad.
Very clean, and just what I'm really proud of is they completely understood their win condition, and that's a hard thing to do for a team, because a lot of the times when you're in draft, you tend to push toward like, hey, what's good for my lane and stuff like that, but really understanding that Jinx was the key in this. The only champion that would be able to take down a Fed Gnar or a Fed Rel if they happen to show up to the game. And knowing that that was the only thing that Conestoga could do once Jinx was fed was take down the Jinx, and they only did it one time in the whole game.
Yeah.
Jinx, 25k gold. The next closest champion is Gnar with 12k gold. So, again,
and just look
doubling.
You guys can't see this, but Jinx's damage, 25k damage. The next closest person in the game was the Gnar at 12.4k.
Which is not even close.
It is.
Nobody on Oakland was doing damage either, and to my point, they're at 8-9k damage, which is good, but the whole key was on Jinx.
Yeah,
it was all on Jinx. Protect that Jinx. Don't let the Jinx die. Make sure you're positioned well.
And that's what happens, right? When you get when you have a 12-0.
Yeah.
And then 12-1 once they flash fountain after the game is ending. You have a 24-minute game. That was so fast.
It was a clean game.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud because it was kind of it made me nervous. That's a team comp that can fall apart when it's all on Jinx. Yeah. If you get a good flank from the LeBlanc and you're not ready for it, the whole team fights over. And I kept prophesizing it. It didn't happen because we played it really well. We had a lot of vision, and we had a proper front line there, and we got to a point where, they just had to start doing crazy stuff trying to kill Jinx, and it just didn't work.
It couldn't work.
So, no, Conestoga, hats off to them. They were great in the series. Oakland, I think, a step above.
Yeah.
3-0 now in our season. It's a 7-week season, so we're almost halfway through at this point. And I'm looking for this team to try and push for maybe a 6-1 season or a 7-0 season. See if we can go undefeated and really show everybody.
And next week, it's going to be another extremely tough match with George Mason University coming in. Another team just like Oakland that had a good run in C-Law last year.
That's right.
So we are in for another, could be a slobber knocker next week to see who. I'll have to go look into George Mason's record, but I believe they're going to be on probably the undefeated side too.
Right.
So this is going to be another important game next week. So I'm excited.
It might decide who gets first in this conference of NACE. And that's what I kind of look at for these undefeated matchups is who's going to take it down. Oakland takes it here. Let's see if we can face George Mason. They've had a great history in College League of Legends, and they're a good team. So we'll see if we can beat them up and keep our win streak alive, go undefeated throughout the season here. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We're just
got to take it 1 week at a time, right? I think we should line up a player interview here.
We do.
We never got a single league stream last year, so it's definitely. We'll cut to a quick break, and we'll be back with a player interview, guys.
We'll be back. All right, and we are back. We have 2/5 of the League of Legends roster here. Right next to me, Joe Shaggy. Right next to him, Henry and Sap as well. Welcome, fellas.
Hello.
Player interviews. Hi. Whoa. We streamed a League of Legends match. It was on a Tuesday this time. That's awesome. We got player interviews now. That's awesome. 2-0 win over Conestoga there. Conestoga, one of the threats in this conference, I would say. They had higher tier players, and they were undefeated as well. Those games didn't look that close.
Not at all.
In both games, we just had an impossible depth for them to play against. So in game 1, Camille had a lead. I think she got a solo kill, and then we dove top, and then he was just like, this person's 30 CS, and I'm like 80. How can play? How can they play? So then we just keep punishing them, and then he's playing a really disgusting pick. Grasp Vladimir right now. He's running Demolish. He has so much HP. It's so broken. You can try playing it. You just keep running them down, and it's like make them feel sad.
I'm sorry. I was really happy in Champion Select when I saw the Vladimir come through because the enemy team had no DPS. They just didn't have any damage over time at all. They had a bunch of burst damage, which really doesn't do anything against a Vladimir or other tanky champions. So they just didn't have a proper answer to an Alistar or an Amumu or Vladimir, right? And that's what we saw in the team fights in that game is as long as Vladimir lived, barely, they were never going to win those team fights. So, and almost the same thing in game 2 with the Jinx, that she was fed. As long as Jinx lived in those fights, it was over.
Yeah, and they counterpicked themselves every single thing. Jinx counters Kai'Sa. They picked Rel, we picked Melio, and then they picked Lilia into Melio. We just cleansed the sleep every single time. They couldn't get on our AD carry. It wasn't even close.
Joe has no chill. Wow. That's a little bit rough there. You get a look at the draft here from game number 2. I did like the LeBlanc pick, though. Given how the engage looked on our side, it's a little bit hard to nail down the LeBlanc. So, also, LeBlanc, a good answer to a fed Jinx. You know, if he happened to be able to get onto the backline in a competent way, you'd be able to take them down. But LeBlanc really didn't have that much of an impact in the game. Just from a draft perspective, if LeBlanc were fed, that would be a pretty good answer here to the Jinx and protect the Jinx comp.
In my opinion, LeBlanc is trash here.
Okay.
It's absolute trash.
Henry has no chill.
Their damage split right now, they have a lot of magic damage in LeBlanc. They're playing magic damage with Lilia and Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa has decent magic damage as well. And so LeBlanc is giving her because she can't just build pen easily because then their mid jungle is playing AP, so then Merc Treads are really easy, and we have 3 members who can easily build Merc Treads. And then we're also playing a lot of champions with really easy CC on her. So if you're playing LeBlanc into champions like Amumu or Maokai, how do you play? You just W in, they just press their one ability, and you just can't play.
Well, the Pantheon W, right?
Pantheon
but it's
W,
kind of the same as the
Amumu R is
Maokai
even
W.
more destructive against LeBlanc. Like
right.
You can't do anything as LeBlanc against Amumu R. You still need to target. You still need to target Pantheon W, but you just press Amumu R on her forehead, and what can she do?
Yeah.
And we just have tools against most of their comp, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think this player should have picked an AD mid to just hard counter a Galliwan lane. That's my opinion. But she no champion pool. It's okay. If they can't pick it, they can't pick it. Like, it's better to play champion you do know than champion you don't know, in my opinion, still. But I don't think LeBlanc in my opinion, LeBlanc was not my favorite pick.
Yeah, and when I was thinking about that, I wasn't quite thinking about how AP heavy that team is. It was more about just, hey, you got this tanky comp with the one real threat is Jinx. How do we answer that? LeBlanc might be able to get into the backline and do some burst damage to Jinx, but you're right. I mean, they're very AP heavy here and kind of one-dimensional. Joe, how did you feel about that series overall? I mean, you guys had an expectation that this series might be difficult. This is a strong team. They've won 2 games. How did you feel about that series?
Yeah, so I just think once we came up with plans and sticking to them, it became a lot easier. We stopped egoing and just played towards a game plan and built smaller leads opposed to just trying to get one big lead. Right. And over time, we snowballed 2 or 3 plates into 2 kills, and then by the time the game was over, our AD carry was 11-0, unkillable.
Right. Yeah, and you guys did a really good job of having Jinx maybe protected. I mean, every time they tried to engage on this Jinx, you saw the immediate Galio ult come out. Amumu ult is in there. Pantheon ult gets there. By the time he's there, the entire enemy team's dead anyway. It didn't really matter. But it was a great job by you guys really understanding your win condition, especially once Jinx got fed, that we needed to keep her alive in a team fight. And, I mean, Jinx only died one time the whole game with 12 kills. So you did a great job of pulling it together there.
I really think we should give credit to our top laner here, because I think Eric has incredibly good macro. Like, Shaggy's always talking about how he has great macro. We all feel it, and like we always know how to play for our win conditions, because someone's telling us what to do per se, or like we all have brains, of course, but like someone's leading, of course not. And yeah, that's all I really wanted.
I love to hear it, and Wazek Eric is shined brightly in that first game on Vladimir, and just absolutely dominating the game with the damage, never dying in these team fights. And if he wasn't fed on that Vladimir in that game, it would have looked a lot different, I think. So yeah, I mean, as a fact that he's leading the team with calls and macro as well is even more impressive. All right, I think that'll do it for this week. Next week we do have another League of Legends match. Because we haven't streamed a lot of League of Legends matches, we will be streaming a lot of them this season, so get ready to see some League of Legends on a Tuesday, and hopefully we'll be able to keep this undefeated streak alive. In the meantime, on Thursday, we'll have Smash Brothers facing off in the D1 League for NACE, so tune in for that. That's 7 p.m. Thank you guys for coming on and doing the interview. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your night. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.